I got some fresh raspberries from my mother-in-law, so I thought I would make a raspberry hibiscus ice cream. I'm going to start by cooking the raspberries with the hibiscus with a little bit of milk. I'm going to use this Fairlife fat-free milk. I am going to be adding a little bit of cream and a little bit of cottage cheese. So it's not going to be a super light recipe, but it's not going to be all heavy fat either. It's going to be mostly light. I'm also going to mix in a little bit of mascarpone for, it gives it a little bit of creaminess. I think it'll go really well with the raspberries. Over medium heat, I'm going to pour my raspberries in. I'm going to add a little bit of mascarpone cheese. This is kind of like butter. It's really high fat, so I'm just going to add a little bit, and as it cooks, it's gonna help it make a nice sauce. I always like to make a nice sauce before I strain it. I'm going to cook this for about 5 minutes until it gets soft, and then I'm going to add my hibiscus. Now that this is cooked down for about 5 minutes, you can see the berries are starting to fall apart and kind of make a sauce. So now I'm ready to add my other ingredients. I'm going to add about maybe a tablespoon of hibiscus. This is just dried hibiscus I got online. I'm going to add a little bit of triple sec. This is an option. You don't need to add this, but I think it makes a nice sauce. I'm just going to add like about just a splash. It helps bring out the flavor of both the hibiscus and the raspberry. The triple sec has an orange flavoring, but it doesn't really, it's not going to make the ice cream taste orange flavor. It's just going to help the raspberries bring out their flavor. So I'm going to cook this for a little bit, cook the alcohol off, and then I'll add my other ingredients and let it soak. Now I'm ready to add my sugar. I'm going to add, this is monk fruit sweetener, about a half a cup. I'm also going to be adding Splenda to my ice cream base, but I like to cook the monk fruit sweetener. I think it comes out creamier when you cook it. For some reason, the crystallization doesn't work very well when you put it directly into the ice cream and freeze it. I always like to cook it. Now I'm going to add a little bit of Tahitian vanilla. You can use regular vanilla if you don't have Tahitian. Maybe like a good amount, I'd say a tablespoon. A little bit of vanilla bean paste. Maybe like a teaspoon. Fairlife milk. Quite a bit of milk, I'd say maybe like a cup. Now I'm going to stir this up and cook it down until it turns into a nice sauce. Then I'm going to let it soak for a few hours just to get that flavoring, and then I'm going to run it through a sieve so I just get the sauce and I don't get the seeds in my ice cream. And I also don't want the hibiscus leaves because they're hard. It's like a tea. So I'm just going to let this steep, get all the good flavorings in. And one other thing, you can add this at any time, but I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Put my hand over it so it doesn't add too much. It just brings out the flavor. So I'll cook this and then let it steep and then strain it. Now that I've cooked my hibiscus and raspberry and let it soak for about 2 hours, I've strained it, and now I'm ready to make my ice cream base. So I'm just going to discard this. I'm just going to put it right here. I'm going to add, I always add some citrus, so you could add lemon, lime, or today I decided to use oranges because I had some and I think it'll go really nicely with the raspberry. So I'm going to juice these oranges. I'll do the rest of them off camera because it's going to take too long to juice all of them. I am also going to add some of the zest. I've already zested this, so I'm just going to add that in. A little bit of cream. Actually, I'm going to shake it before I add it. This is going to be a nice stabilizer. I'd say that was just like a tablespoon. I'm going to add about a cup of, I'm using Splenda, you can use any kind of sweetener you want. Cottage cheese. There's probably about a cup in here. I'm going to add the rest of it. I'm going to stir this up, taste it, and then adjust my seasonings. I realized that I was putting the oranges in incorrectly, and that was making it not juice well at all. So I'm using the big part instead of the part for the lime. And I'm just putting it like this, and then squeezing straight down, and it squeezes a lot better. And my husband told me sometimes it's a good idea to squeeze them and then go through and squeeze them again, because there's still some juice in there left to get all the nice juice out of there. I added milk up to the line, and then I did one last taste, and it tastes really good, so I'm ready to freeze this for 24 hours. This is frozen for 24 hours, so I'm going to spin it on the ice cream setting. After one spin, it's kind of frosty, so I'm just going to take my spoon and check to see how much more it needs. And it looks like I'm going to just do it a respin. After respinning this, it looks perfect, so I'm ready to serve it up. The texture looks good. I'll taste it. It's good. I think I would probably add a little bit of lemon to add some tartness to it. When I added the citrus, I used oranges, and oranges are obviously a lot sweeter than lemons. So I think it needs a little bit of a citrus. I might zest a little bit of lemon on top of this to make it really good. This wasn't bad on my last spin, but it lacked something, and I tried to figure it out. So I added a little bit of citrus. I added lemon zest, and I also thought it needed a little bit of sourness, so I added a little bit of yogurt to this. So it's still an ice cream, but it just has a little bit of that tang that helps to helps the berry flavors, so it's not just one-dimensional. So I'm going to spin this on regular ice cream and see what happens. I had to respin this once, but I didn't add any liquid. Now it looks good. I'm ready to spoon it up. The texture is perfect. I took a couple raspberries from before and kept them for just to put them on my ice cream. So this is what it looks like. And now I'm ready to taste it. It's a lot better. Now the flavor's right. That added sourness balances really well with the sweet of the raspberry, and I can't really taste the hibiscus, but it does help with the color, and I'm sure it adds a little bit of flavor, but it's not pronounced, but it tastes really good now.